You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 310 of Podketeers. In the last episode, we took a walk down Buena Vista Street, and this week we put on our thinking hats as we do some armchair imagineering for that same area. We always look forward to these episodes because they help us flex our creativity muscle. And remember, if there's any idea that you'd like to share, or if there's one that you really like, join the conversation and leave a comment on the blog post for this episode at podketeers.com/310 on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Just search for Podketeers. Before jumping into the episode, we'd like to take a moment to thank a very special group of people, our podcast Fairy Godparents, also known as the FGP Squad. If you're new to the podcast, the FGP Squad help make these episodes of Podketeers possible with a monthly contribution via Patreon. If you'd like more info on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, head over to podketeers.com/FGP. And to all of the members of the FGP Squad, we'd like to send a huge thank you for all of your continued support. So that's it for this intro. This is episode 310 of Podketeers. I found this new flavor of ginger ale that actually has a splash of lime. So it has limeade. Mm-hmm. It's a new flavor, and I dig it so hard.
Nice.
Love it. They made an orangeade flavor that I was kind of digging several months back, and I have to say that I think I like this one more than the orangeade flavor.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I just think it fits the flavor profile of the ginger ale so much more than the orange one does.
I can see that.
And it just mixes it. It's just, they also have a lemon one that's supposed to simulate lemonade, and it's okay. It's possibly the one that I would shy away from if it was like a 3-pack, right, of flavors.
Yeah.
But this limeade one, whew, it's delicious.
I think that does sound good. As a connoisseur of both gin and tonics and Cuba Libres, I can get down with some lime additive. So nice. I may have to give that a try.
Well, I am not a connoisseur of gin and tonic, but I can see how that would actually help with the flavor. Yeah.
Gin and tonic, delicious.
Maybe one of these days I'll try one out.
All right.
Knows? We'll see.
We'll have to make that happen.
Yeah.
When the world opens back up, we'll have to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Well, in this episode, I'm super excited because I want to really listen to Mel and Gavin's ideas for Buena Vista Street. Armchair Imagineering, quite possibly some of the funnest episodes that we do. I love them. I don't have many ideas for this one. I have a couple ideas. I'll tell you right now. I have a couple of ideas that I really started thinking thoroughly about, and then it'll probably spawn some other ideas throughout the episode, but
it will.
So you know, I'm only coming into this with like 2, and knowing you guys, you probably have like 12.
I will admit that this is so far for me the hardest challenge that we've given ourselves, and I have 3 ideas. So I'm really banking on us going into that creative brainstorming mode that we find ourselves in with these episodes. We'll start riffing on each other's ideas. We'll come up with some stuff. And I guarantee you'll come up with some ideas, Heyzen. And one of mine in particular, like, I would really benefit from some of your storytelling capability to pull off effectively. I've got kind of the outline, the skeleton of it, but you could really turn it into something awesome. So,
thanks. I'll try. I'll do my best.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to be a fun time, though.
All right.
Oh, yeah. And I would say that I have like 2.5, but the other 2, I kind of wrote a lot because it just came, and I was like, I'm just gonna write everything down.
Nice.
Those are the best ones too.
This was the first time in a while where I was just able to just sit down and just get something.
Cool.
Last one was a little difficult, but this one I'm like, oh my gosh, I could see I actually kind of see this from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, it's nice to stretch this muscle too, this creative thinking muscle. And it's been a long time since we did a park one, because our last one was about Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been months at this point, I think, like 2 months since we've done Armchair Imagineering in the park, and I'm so excited.
So yeah, this is going to be exciting for several reasons. Everything that you guys mentioned, and for me, I think with everything that's been going on, really forcing myself to sit down and actively think of something. I think you guys know better than most people do. My brain is always running in 11th gear, and so my thought process jumps from one thing to another sporadically. And it's hard for me to sit down and concentrate on things, especially if I have like other more important things going on. And, you know, when I'm dealing with like family stuff, like to me, that's number one, right? And if I'm dealing with that, I can't deal with this. And so this was great because as I kind of jump back into, I don't want to, everybody keeps calling it normalcy, but it's not. I mean,
Normal
I'm gonna
is
call
always evolving.
Yes, I'm going to call it familiar territory.
There you go.
go.
I'm going to
That's
call it
way
that.
better.
Yeah, so as I jump back into familiar territory, it was super fun for me to sit down and actively think of something for the park. So the ideas may not be great, but you know what? Who cares?
Who
Muscles
cares?
aren't built overnight. You got to work
Let's just
for
have
them.
fun.
So that's what we're aiming for. So, okay. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
Definitely, I'm going to need a little bit of help with this one. I was thinking of giving Buena Vista Street more legroom. And for me, it's more of where Buena Vista Street and Hollywoodland meet. And it's just a clash because you have Buena Vista Street, which is beautiful, Carthay, and it's right there. It's just Hollywoodland. Boom. So I kind of would like to see that sign there still. But I kind of want to see a little bit more of Buena Vista Street incorporated into it, because you have your palette of beige, your beautiful earth tones, and then it's just gold and orange. And it's like kind of let's kind of clean that up a little bit. But I would like to see it. The best way I could describe this. Okay, the entranceway to Galaxy's Edge. You know how there's the one entrance where it's Galaxy's Edge and it's Frontierland? And there's two separate parts that are they just blend so beautifully? That's what I would like to see.
So you're
on the
shooting for a
entrance there.
smoother transition.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. And it could actually go as far as the restrooms and to, I want to say to where Mickey's PhilharMagic, because it kind of cuts organically there.
Yeah.
So kind of have it that's my first step.
Now,
my
are you
first
thinking
idea
just the color palette in those buildings and facades being toned more in line with Buena Vista Street?
Yes.
Okay, I
That
gotcha.
and like the architecture just a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then kind of like fade out and then have it be Hollywoodland from there, just so it's a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
Gotcha. See, to me, it's interesting because I don't find it as jarring. It certainly used to be a little bit more than it is now. I feel like, to me, it's pretty smooth. Where it really smashes it for me is when you get to the what is it called, Mickey's Playhouse Theater or whatever.
Yes.
Whatever that's
Yes.
the thing that you can see from the hub that kind of shatters the illusion for me. I would love that to be something other than it is. They definitely need that attraction for the tots. But yeah, visually that one smashes it. Other than that, I feel like it's a pretty smooth transition, but I totally see what you're saying about the color palette. It is a completely different color palette. So yeah, I think they could probably easily address a lot of that. And then, just change the whole front of that theater building.
Yeah. The Hollywood sign or the Hollywoodland sign, I think, is misplaced. Like, I think it would be better suited if they moved it over. I think this is what you were alluding to, between Mickey's PhilharMagic and Schmoozies.
Yes.
The Playhouse Disney thing that's happening there, that's easily solved by moving the Playhouse Disney entrance to the side. You know, if you can put a big marquee or something closer to the restrooms that point to that so that you don't see it from Buena Vista Street, you can still get people into that area and you can still promote it. And the front part could still be the entrance like it is now, but the queue and the signage would be over on the other side closest to the bathroom. So that's easily solvable if they just kind of shift a couple things around. But yeah, the color palette.
But see, they don't even have a sign anymore, do they? It's just the two pillars on the sides. I didn't think there was a sign up above anymore. Are you sure?
Man, have I not paid attention that much?
I feel like that's down, and between
if that's
schmoozies,
true, then, wow, I take my idea back.
And award wieners is that arched sign that says like the Hollywood Pictures backlot or whatever.
Oh, maybe they did move it then.
There. The one at the entrance isn't there
that doesn't
anymore.
Exist anymore, huh?
No, it's just the two.
Now that you're mentioning it, I think you're right.
Columns on the side still exist.
Yeah,
and they're in that
right.
rust color. But they removed the sign above. It's kind of been a while now.
Man, it shows you how much I've been paying attention.
Exactly.
Damn.
And it's been how long?
I know.
Since I've been at the park.
Man.
Yeah.
Or DCA.
All right. Well, then problem solved. There you go. That one was easy.
That's hilarious.
That's
but
funny.
I didn't think about the that signage there. I mean, that could also kind of change. But I mean, something like that. So it looks a little bit more cohesive all the way through.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that side of the street, I would definitely work on some redesigns anyway. Because like even the Art of Animation building or whatever it's called, it's a little, it kind of sticks out a little bit. It doesn't quite blend the way I would like it to blend. So that whole side of that street could be reworked a little bit, especially since you can see it so plainly from Buena Vista Street.
Right.
Yeah.
But little tweaks.
I agree.
Interestingly enough, my first idea is kind of in the same vein as Melissa's, in that there's something to me that stands out that doesn't fit that I would like to correct. It's a small change for Buena Vista Street, but a really big change for the resort. I personally can't stand seeing the monorail go across Buena Vista Street. I don't like it. It sticks out like a sore thumb to me. So I would like to reroute the monorail to somewhere else.
Like Avengers Campus?
I'm not saying where. Yeah, Avengers Campus would be perfect.
Well, it fits the aesthetic more that way.
As long as it comes into Avengers Campus and then kind of back out and doesn't cross over any other parts of DCA, I'm cool with it. It can go around the outside of it like it does on the east side of Disneyland. Like it can just go down Harbor and then, behind Screamin'. It can go somewhere else. But I don't like that it crosses that bridge. So what I would like is just some dynamic prop work. Like I just want to see like a train from the era of the 20s or 30s just go across that bridge every now and again. Maybe you could have two and they kind of cross each other. And then 20 minutes later, they cross each other back. Just to add a little bit of dynamic motion to the visual aesthetic of the land. Just to hear a little toot-toot and like a train come across the bridge. That doesn't jar you aesthetically. So that's kind of my first idea. It adds some sound effects. It adds visual cues and doesn't look like a space train coming across your 1920s LA.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah,
Space train, I
space
love
train. So, what if they can't reroute it, right? I totally agree with you, by the way. I think it would be better suited if it went through a different route. If they couldn't reroute it, would you be happy with them doing some kind of panel replacement technology where it actively, like there were screens that actively changed the visual of the train to like an old 1920s trolley or something as the monorail passed by?
Yeah, we've talked about this idea before. I think it could be cool. I think it would be much more effective at night than it would be during the day, or maybe vice versa. I can't decide. Yeah, I don't know. I would love that technology to be viable. I don't know that it's there yet, but yeah, that would be cool. I even thought of if we could reroute the monorail, maybe since that bridge was technically a bridge for cars, I believe, the Hyperion Bridge, it would be cool to see like period cars just going across it, back and forth. And they could have those on like a loop, like they'd go down and then they'd come back. And so you could have crossing traffic that just kind of went, and maybe every like fifth car would have like a Oswald in it driving.
That would be funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because to me, it's not, I don't think you could make any real interesting attraction out of it. So it really just becomes a part of the landscape of Buena Vista Street. So that's why I'm thinking just something more visual than anything.
Yeah. I like the little Oswald cars coming by every so often. Like, that's one thing that we talk about with all of the lands, right? Having some kind of kinetic energy that help the flow of the land. Mm-hmm. And Buena Vista Street was unique in a way that a lot of the kinetic energy happened on land, with the trolleys and the citizens of Buena Vista Street on their bicycles and stuff like that. And with all of that going away, it puts this crazy void into that land that, we can't necessarily fill with just anything random. And having those visuals of those little cars, especially built to a proper scale, would make it look like a full-size bridge as they're coming by. So, yeah, I dig that idea. I dig it.
Sweet. So I think ultimately I'm landing on cars then, because we can put characters in there. I think it could make a little more sense.
And have
and you can see it from both sides. Yeah, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Because of the time, we could obviously have Oswald in there. We could have Mickey and Minnie drive by, and it can tell a story, right? Like on a loop, where like at first you kind of see Mickey driving. Later he's with Minnie. Later they're being chased by Mortimer. Later it's like Mickey's like flapping from the back of the car as Mortimer's chasing them. And ultimately like I don't know, like there's like a whole story that can be told with them, right? And so they're kind of going through their own little mini Silly Symphonies short. So if you stand there long enough, you get to see all the transitions through.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have all kinds of gags. You could have like Pete like tailgating, honking his horn.
Yeah, it could be several storylines. Yeah.
Yeah. You could have horse collar just like, trudging along with a wagon and like a car behind him with Pete like honking like hurry up, hurry up. You could do a lot of stuff.
And we could hear them talking in the background too.
Yes.
Just have the speakers active and hear the cars honking and screeching and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That would be cool.
I like it. Okay.
Man.
Well, my first idea is actually an attraction.
Ooh.
However, my attraction actually relies on taking over Hollywoodland.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about what we want to do with Hollywoodland, and we even did an Armchair Imagineering episode for that one. Mm-hmm. And with Avengers Campus opening, obviously the transition of where Buena Vista Street started, especially with the trolleys, and where it ended at Tower of Terror, the synergy of all of that broke with the opening with Mission Breakout. And that's great for Avengers Campus, but it leaves this crazy void, and that's probably why they're not going to be doing the trolleys much longer. So if that area all became part of Buena Vista Street and all of that became like Buena Vista Park, versus, or maybe they called it Griffith Park, some variation like Silver Lake Park, where it kind of pivoted away from something that was in the surrounding area of Buena Vista, the Hyperion and all that stuff. You can create a subsection of Buena Vista Street that aesthetically looks more like the entire land is actually part of itself. And there could be references to Hollywood, there could still be references to the 5 freeway and all sorts of things that cohesively tie that area together. Now, my attraction also relies on an idea we had in another episode where we move Mike and Sully to the Rescue out of that area and move it to Pixar Pier. That's where it belongs. Like, that attraction has no business in Hollywoodland anymore. But in its place, I want to bring back Superstar Limo 2.0.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to call it Walt's Wacky Way.
Okay.
Okay. And this would actually not be the same attraction, just kind of rethemed. Like, I want to build a whole new one. This was actually inspired by, you know how have you ever been to Hollywood, or have you ever seen a TV show or something where somebody goes to Hollywood and they buy one of those maps to the homes of the stars and they take these tours? So there's a lot of tours that show you all the landmarks that Walt used to go to, you know, the Tam O'Shanter and the studio and all this. What if you had an attraction that took you to all those locations and gave you these cool gags from different people? Like, you had Imagineers pop up and you had Disney characters pop up. You know, like, you could actually go through Walt's life and footsteps on an attraction.
Nice.
So we would have a
awesome.
Superstar Limo style attraction, but it's all about Walt and living in LA.
Will we have an audio animatronic of Walt?
No, it's going to be a screen presentation and a hologram. Of
Hologram.
course we're going to have an audio animatronic. We already made one in the Main Street episode. Why not?
Heck yeah.
Right?
Just animatronic Waltz everywhere.
Yeah, in all of them.
I love it. I love it. So is this attraction going to basically cover the entire area of that backlot area of Hollywoodland?
Not the whole area. It would essentially take the spot of where Mike and Sully to the Rescue is, and possibly, is it Studio 19 that's directly to the left of it? Wherever,
17?
where, I forgot which one it is, but it's where Black Panther and the Dora Milaje currently appear, and they have like the AP corner. It's directly 17, right? It's directly
17,
behind. I almost called it Muppet Vision Theater. It's directly behind PhilharMagic, and directly to the left of Mike and Sully to the Rescue.
So where is this going to queue or enter from Buena Vista Street, or is Buena Vista Street like thematically going to wrap around into Hollywoodland?
It's going to wrap around
one thing.
It's going to wrap around, yeah.
Okay, I got you now.
That's why I want to rename that back area to something else, like Silver Lake Park or something like that. Like something that ties it in together to Buena Vista Street.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I gotcha. So are you leaving PhilharMagic?
Oh, yeah, it's still beautiful.
Okay.
I would just retheme the theater a little bit more so that we change it and tweak it to make it look like more of those 1920s-style theaters that were on Broadway in L.A. Because technically that's what the Hyperion is, right? The Hyperion is themed that way. So why not theme PhilharMagic to have a similar structure as the facade for that theater? The inside already looks beautiful. It's already ornate enough and looks like an old school theater. But if you change the outside visual, it would wrap around so nicely to it.
Interesting. And what are you picturing for ride vehicles here?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I want the 1937 Packard cars as the vehicles.
Yeah.
Travel in
Fantastic.
style.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Interesting nugget of information. My dad's first car, he's not that old, but his first car in the 1960s was a 39 Packard.
No way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, classics.
I love. What color was it? Do you know?
I do not remember. I do not remember.
We'll have to ask him. I'd love.
Yep,
That's a
I'll ask
super
him.
sweet
Yeah.
car, man. Super
I'll
sweet
provide
car.
an update.
Nice. So yeah, that's my first idea.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's a big one to be your first idea to roll out here today. That's
Oh,
a
trust
big
me,
one.
they only get worse from here.
Yeah, you always say that, but it's never true.
Right.
Well, look, I don't know. This is a hard area to armchair Imagineer, okay?
It really
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
It is. It's kind of like you're being picky at this point because it's so pretty.
Yeah, they did such a fantastic job with the retheming. Like, if there's one thing I miss from the transition is that there's no more Beach Boys music in the plaza.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, I'm good with all the changes. This just looks so amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
You might. I think you guys are gonna like my second idea though. Like, oh,
Okay.
I'm so on board with that one. It's not even funny. All right, Mel.
Okay. So I actually thought about this, and I want to kind of recycle an idea I had for Main Street, because I have the space and I could see it in my head a little better than the one I did on Main Street. So, we have Elias and Company. That's not moving. I'm just going to say it right there. It's not going to move. But what if, guys, fellas, anybody who wanted to get a haircut, shave, or shine their shoes, before they go on their date?
I'm so on board already.
So I'm thinking, I think it'd be pretty cool to have Elias and Company cater to those services. But something in my head was like, I really loved the little room that Elias and Company has that had like all the jewelry, all the top items for, purses, things like that. That room was beautiful. So I'm taking over Gone Hollywood. I'm taking over that whole area. We're just going to use up the skeleton. I want to bring the boutique with the most modern, fashion for women, and it's going to be called Lillian and Edna. And
okay.
Inside, I see, this is where I kind of like, ooh, I'm excited for this. Okay, so it's going to be 2 floors. And you have, the bottom, you have your fancy stuff. You've got your purses. You got this. You got that. Elias and Company has services on this side. What Lillian and Edna is going to provide is a beauty salon on the 2nd floor. Beautiful. I'm thinking cool tones, like a light feel with some rhinestones, like something elegant. Now, this I think is the part that I'm so excited about. And it's going to be the 2nd floor looking up or looking down. On the rails, I would love to see diamonds with the initials L and E.
Oh, nice.
The simple nod to the ladies, just like we see in New Orleans Square. And I think it would make a fantastic photo op just for fun, just the aesthetic look of it. Because how many of us have taken pictures of that railing in New Orleans Square?
Oh, heck yeah.
Tons. You can't get tired of it. So I thought, you know what? Let's give these 2 ladies a little bit of love and just put it there. And on the bottom floor, I would love to see like photos of them and like what they wore, things like that. Just something for them.
Yeah.
So I would use up all that and have like this would be catered to this and that would be catered to that. And if you want to do whatever before your date, go for it.
So basically, this is a bibbidi bobbidi boutique for mom and dad.
Or maybe me.
Or, yeah, you don't have to be parents. For grown-ups.
For grown-ups, yeah.
For
Exactly.
grown-ups.
I dig it.
I like the idea of possibly going in and getting a haircut and a shave at Elias and Company. Because isn't that something that you can already do at Disney World?
Yes.
I think they still have the barbershop, yes.
Yeah, and see, Disneyland doesn't have anything like that, but it fits so well. Like, if you theme an entire, like, barbershop inside or, like, little salon that would look like that era, they talk to you like that. Oh, man, I'm such a sucker for, like, a hot towel and a straight razor shave. Like, I don't, it's not something, obviously, that happens often, but... Man, if you ever want to get me like a gift, like that's the way to go right there. Like,
yeah,
good to know.
Yeah.
But the idea of Lillian and Edna is so fantastic because that culture, we've talked about this before, where the culture, that dapper culture, is so looked out for. You know, that vintage culture is so popular that that store would absolutely shine in that location.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it kind of, the Easter egg that we talked about at Elias and Company, where Flora's Beauty Salon is there, like this is kind of taking that Easter egg and giving it life and, you know, bringing it to the masses. And I just love that. That's a fantastic idea, Melissa. I love this.
Thanks.
Yeah, really, it brings some elegance to, because a lot of people like to dress up and go to Carthay.
Yeah.
You know, so it'd be like a nice kind of a whole day experience. You go get dolled up, and then you know, you go across to have a nice dinner, and then you watch World of Color, and it's like a magical, you know, prince and princess date, or prince and prince date, or whatever kind of date you want to have. You know, or just a fun time. I think that would be really cool. I would be interested to know if you had any ideas on pricing. Because I think that would be the barrier for a lot of people. But if you could do like little pieces, you know, you know, if you could go in and get like a consult on a bow tie or something, you know, for, you know, something small, or, you know, whatever it is.
I think it'd be pretty cool to have like small packages, or have like little here, this and that. Like, let's say they just want to get their nails done.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. It doesn't have to be much. Or let's say the guy just wants his shoes shined. That's it.
Nice, yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like the whole thing. That's what I kind of would like, because, you know, everyone wants to get dolled up or dressed up for fun. And I just figure, you know, sometimes, I mean, I've been to Carthay and I feel like I am really underdressed. So
I've been there too. Yep.
So yeah.
That's cool. It's a la carte bibbidi bobbidi beauty.
Yeah, I dig it.
Well done. I like that idea.
Thanks.
All right, Gavin. What about you? What's your next one?
Okay, so my next idea is bringing in the character that has kind of become the unofficial mascot for Buena Vista Street, which is none other than Oswald.
Yay!
Nice.
And it's kind of incorporating something I learned about LA when I moved to California, which I didn't really understand before moving out here. And that is that LA is basically built around a series of hills. I had no idea how like much elevation change there is in and around LA. It's all hills and mountains, and I had no idea. So I kind of want to put it in a spot that gives some of that elevation, at least visually. So where I'm going to put this new thing is to the right of the information booth that's across from Carthay, in the shadow, or at the bottom of Grizzly Peak.
Oh, okay.
So facing Fiddler Pfeiffer and Practical Cafe. I'm hoping that we can kind of build into the mountains. So like you can have a facade on the outside that looks like a little place that I'll describe in a second, but that we can use some space like underneath the attraction to give this a little bit of room, because it's going to need a little bit of room. That's where this challenge became really tough, is that there's not a lot of room to work with in Buena Vista Street, and I didn't want to tear down anything. So that's where I'm putting this, and I kind of want to make it look like it is a little theater, not dissimilar to the Main Street cinema, but with a more 1920s, 30s Art Deco style that fits this era. So opposite Carthay, which was like the big fancy theater where Snow White was premiered, is kind of like a more typical local theater of the time. And it's time we brought some Oswald shorts into the park.
Yes.
So not an entirely new concept, but a mirror concept, kind of like the way Buena Vista mirrors Main Street. I want an Oswald cinema. We can call it the Oswald Odeon. And we can have a series of rotating shorts similarly to the way the Main Street Cinema does. You could have some concessions there. I thought of maybe selling something called Rabbit Munch, which is something like Cracker Jack, and
That's
you know,
cool.
just another cool like diversional spot to go in and cool off, to check out some Oswald cartoons. I think that'll help also expose the world a little more to Oswald, because I still feel like most people have never seen an Oswald cartoon, and it'll kind of bring more of that character into the general awareness of Disney fans. There can be movie posters in there and a lot of things that'll kind of tell you more of the history of Walt and Oswald and that character that kind of got lost to history for a time. So that's my idea. And I really want to make it look like it's kind of part of some complex, or, you know, not anything huge, but give an understanding that this is a building at the bottom of a hill, and there might be some indications of buildings up above behind it to kind of give some visual elevation, which we see in LA, which you don't see in the land as it exists right now.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it. It would, I mean, that area, because of the information booth, like, I feel it's very needed, but at the same time, it seems like a bit of an eyesore because of how you have to wrap around it to see the falls behind it. And the way that you're describing it, it would layer that area in a more organic way to see the hills and then see the waterfall behind the hills and the rock and the mountain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that idea. I think visually it would be much more appealing. The information booth can move across the way where they normally have the first booth for like the Festival of Holidays or whatever food thing they're doing, and it would completely open up that area for this structure that you want to build. Yeah,
Sweet.
I like it. Yeah, it's much more appealing than looking at that information booth.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like the information booth. It's not bad, and it kind of doubles as one of the trolley stops. But yeah, I think it does look like, I don't want to say it looks like an afterthought, but it looks like there could have been a little more consideration to that quadrant of the hub, in the circle there.
Yeah.
Because it does kind of seem like a blank spot. It's kind of like the dark room in Indiana Jones Adventure, where it's like, oh, did they forget to put anything here?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that to me. I love the transition to the Grizzly Peak area and the new signage they incorporated, so I don't want to impede on that, but it does seem like there's a blank spot there, and I'd like to use that and kind of give indication of the hilliness of LA.
Yeah. It would just flow
I
a
like
little
it.
better that way.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I like it. When you started saying, Mel, about recycling ideas, I thought, man, the idea that we had of doing the VR tour where Walt is walking you through Disneyland would fit so well here on Buena Vista. Like, there could be a companion virtual tour, where you end at the Storytellers and the last line of the entire tour is, "We're just getting started." And then that's where it ends. I'm like, what? So
Yeah, that could be awesome.
anyway, that's not my idea.
Stay
I just
tuned.
thought, since you
Stay
made me
tuned.
think of man, that idea would work really well for both parks. So, anyhow, my idea, my last idea, my second idea, is again, because of the fact that I kind of want to wrap everything around and make Hollywoodland a part of Buena Vista Street and call it Silver Lake Park or whatever the case is. I think that area that has become very popular for different dance things like electronica, Mad Tea Party, all that stuff, Freeze the Night, all that stuff that we had there, because it's now going to be a part of Buena Vista Street at Silver Lake Park, I think could be rethemed so that we have a Roaring 20s Gatsby themed dance party. And so the entire
Oh
thing
my God.
is art decoed out with gold and black, and there's flapper girls that are serving drinks and stuff, and like whoever's spinning or whatever band is playing is big band jazz, and there's You know, you can have the Silver Lake sisters come and sing songs. The entire thing could just be rethemed to fit that area, to fit Buena Vista Street. And it's something that we've needed again there in that area for a really long time. That area just becomes so boring in the evening, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But whenever those dance parties were there, it was so lively and it was just a fun place to be in. And the Roaring Twenties is a super popular era where it's easily incorporated. The costuming for cast members would not be difficult to pull off. And then you have, you know, guys in their suits walking around, or, you know, I just think that a Gatsby-themed style dance party for that area would go over super well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
That's
gosh.
awesome. Yeah.
You said Gatsby. You said back area part. Yes. I'm for it. Sign.
Yeah, I'm
I
all
think
about.
it'd be fun.
Yeah, of course, and anything 20s, and it just works. Like people love that stuff. They'll eat it up. Yeah.
And it fits so well with the
Absolutely.
Dapper Day aesthetic that everybody's trying to capitalize on right now.
Yeah.
For real.
And think about it. It perfectly encapsulates Melissa's idea of the place where you can get dolled up, because you can have themed, you know, outfits or hairstyles or hats or whatever to go to dinner at Carthay and then go to this Gatsby party afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a whole day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can roll that all into one themed experience.
The Roaring Twenties package.
Yeah, there's a
Oh
lot
my
of
gosh,
symbiotic
yes.
stuff happening right now, and it kind of rolls nicely into another idea I have later. So
Nice.
yeah, that's great, and that I agree, that area has needed some new energy. You know, that kind of fits thematically. Like, I get that like Electronica was cool. Mad Tea Party was cool, and Freeze the Night was cold. But like, thematically, none of them really had anything to do with
Well
anything
done.
that was there, you know? So it's kind of like, all right, whatever. But if we do this redesign of the area and make it, you know, this Silver Lake Park or whatever it ends up being of the 20s, 30s, like doing that kind of Gatsby style Roaring 20s kind of hot band jazz era experience fits visually, acoustically. You know, they already play big band swing music, you know, so like this, I love it. I think this all is rolling together nicely into a beautiful landscape that we would revel in.
Yeah.
And they used to have something very little during New Year's Eve.
Ooh.
So, and it looked beautiful. Just what they had at the time was Tower. So if you were to take your idea, Heyzen, and put it in the back, oh my gosh.
Well, it's a really great opportunity to incorporate some of the mystique around some of the leftover things that, you know, we saw from Tower of Terror, like the Silver Lake sisters, for instance. Like, if we do rename it Silver Lake Park, then it's appropriate to have the Silver Lake sisters performing in this area. You know, there's already the mystique behind them. The posters already exist at Fiddler. Pfeiffer. Yes, the Three Little Pig Shop.
Pfeiffer.
I get tongue-tied when I try to say their names all the time. But yes, you know, they're already, their posters are there, the stories on the wall, people know of them because of when Tower of Terror was there. As a matter of fact, when they closed down the Tower of Terror before it became Mission Breakout, they had this whole 1920s party event that featured the Silver Lake sisters performing. So you get, you know, you get a band like Fat Cat Swinger that already kind of has, you know, that big band sound to them, and it's a perfect fit for that area. Like, you don't have to wait for a food and wine festival to hear that, you know?
Yeah.
So would we call this the Tip Top Club on ground level?
Yes, 120%, yes.
They could even move the swing dancing from Disneyland over to that area, and teach
Ooh.
people how to swing dance
Yep.
and do all that stuff as well.
Yep.
Yep, there's plenty of space.
What I'd love to see them bring back for cameo appearances is Minnie's Fly Girls, because
Yes!
I still miss
Yes!
them. They were amazing.
See,
Yeah,
so many
I like this.
possibilities.
And you can, because there's that other stage on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. This could be awesome.
So many
Man, this was
possibilities.
good.
Very awesome.
All right, I have one other idea, but it was more of a callback. It's kind of what I call my throwaway idea, but I'll mention it at the end.
Share it.
You sure?
Okay.
Yeah, share it still.
Yeah.
Well, this one was essentially taking. So you know how towards the back of that Hollywoodland area is stage 27, I believe, where Captain Marvel was appearing.
I think it's 28.
28, something like this. 20 something
think
back
so.
there.
Yeah.
Behind that, or maybe just get rid of that one. If you theme everything to look more like a park, I would like to have a merry-go-round that looked exactly like the Griffith Park one did when Walt took his daughters. Not a King Arthur's carousel, no. I want the carousel, a replica of the carousel of the Griffith Park merry-go-round that Walt took his daughters to. And that way, you fully
feels-
theme the entire area to Griffith Park, Silver Lake, Glendale, and all of Buena Vista Street becomes its own Walt Land experience.
Oh my God.
I am on board with that
Yeah.
if you meet one condition for me.
What's that?
Do something else with Jesse's Critter Carousel. We can't
No,
have
just
three
get rid of Jesse's
merry-go-rounds
Critter
at the
Carousel.
DLR.
Get it out. Just
Right,
put something
yeah,
else
but-
there.
That's what I'm saying. Create a new attraction for that, and then you can do another
I would
carousel.
even say-
you can't add a third.
No,
man.
no.
You can't.
We can even use the same structure, just retheme it to look like the original Griffith Park Carousel. And
That's
yeah,
fine.
just
That's
get rid of
fine.
it
That
and
would
move
be
it,
awesome.
and it would fit a lot better. And that's what I think.
Okay. I'm fine with that then.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if you made it large enough and it could be a seating area?
Yeah, we could do that too.
I think that'd be cool. I would sit on a horse just
I think it could be.
10 on
I
there,
think it would work as a functional carousel. I think because there aren't many attractions back there. There needs to be a little bit more for people to want to go do. And during the day, you're not going to have a full-blown dance party. That's mainly for the evenings. But if all of the ideas are cohesive enough and you get the idea of living in Walt's LA in the 1920s, it just makes it a more appealing place to go, and it helps with the crowd levels and everything else.
Yep, I like it.
I do too.
That's it. That's all I got.
What?
We're good,
that was
man.
really good.
Those were all good ideas, dude.
Yeah.
You guys are knocking it out of the park too, so thank you.
Okie dokies. So, no cables. We're not going to need them. No one's going to miss them. I'm hoping this saves the trolleys. But what I want to do is, what if we were to go back to Buena Vista Street 100 years ago to the 1920s? And what I would do, and you said this earlier, Heyzen, I'm like, oh man, this is going to take VR goggles. We're going to sit on a trolley. We're going to look down Buena Vista Street and how it is right now, but those that you see on there are from then. What I would love to do is when you start your journey, they're going to say a little presentation, a little spiel about how things were in 1923. And as you're traveling down, you're going to look around, you're going to see different things. There's going to be constant stuff. And what would be the coolest thing than to see Oswald standing there? Keep going. You look up at the optometrist and you see Ub. Keep going.
Ooh.
You may see one of the 9 old men. Keep going. We're going to have a show stop by Fiddler, Fifer, and Practical. And this show stop, I don't know exactly where the angle is, but how awesome would it be to sit in that trolley, have the Storyteller Statue come alive. Walt is telling us his story of how he got to California. Then, as we're passing that little area, he's waving to us. He's waving goodbye and everything. We're going by Carthay and we're seeing the cast of opening day for Snow White waving outside of Carthay. And we keep going. That's the hard part is I don't know what else to do. But what I want is I want every experience to be very different. You're not going to see everything on the first try. And to me, I think that would keep the trolleys, give it some life to Buena Vista Street, and it'll kind of be like a tour.
Yeah.
You know, we get a little bit more insight. And I thought about that. I'm like, how cool would it be to do that? And every experience is different.
I'm so on board. Anything having to do with VR, I'm usually like, yes, 120%, right?
Right. Now, here's the other part that I kind of, you know me, seasonal. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to start at the very front, right? Let's say we go back this time. It is Halloween time. So who's the best person to tell our story of Buena Vista Street?
Oogie Boogie.
Yes. Now, the show stop. It's not Walt, but it's the Headless Horseman.
Nice.
I know. And then it's kind of like the Headless Horseman is being told, the story is being told by Oogie.
Okay.
And everything is just purple lights, bugs, like little things you'll see. And yeah, I was like, I would love to see this.
Okay.
So
Here's what I'm proposing.
yes.
We're
Okay.
scrapping Superstar Limo 2.0 and we're integrating this idea into my idea. And we'll combine them
Okay.
into creating the virtual trolley attraction.
Sure.
I like that. What I'm picturing, tell me if I'm right. So you get on the trolley, right? You're
Yes.
riding the trolley. You got your
Yes.
VR on. You're
Yes.
seeing other passengers, like from the 1920s, on the trolley with you. And then you're looking
Yep.
out the windows. And as you go by, like you look up at iWorks, you see standing up on the balcony, like things like that, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
'Cause the reason I got that idea is because over at the Void, you could see everybody dressed
Yes.
appropriately.
Right.
So if you were to see like your fellow passengers like that, that'd be awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be
And
cool.
you didn't have to dress up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in.
I see ya.
We're just going to mash up my attraction with this idea, and we're just going to make
Yeah.
it happen that way.
So
Okay.
what would be cool is at the very first stop, a young Walt hops on the trolley and sits down near you and starts
Oh, God.
regaling everybody with stories. And
Oh,
he's
I
pointing
cry.
things out along the way like, oh, check this out over at this place. In a few years, I'm going to do this amazing thing, and it's going to happen right here.
Oh.
And hey, there's my buddy Ub. He helped me design, all this cool stuff. And that would be cool, too, if you had like a young, like energetic, boisterous Walt, like regaling
yeah.
you with stories.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we could get audio from every footage,
Sure.
put it together. I'm pretty sure we could get tons of stories. So, yeah,
Man.
I love that.
I'm in.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm
I
in.
like the idea of incorporating it into an attraction space, like Heyzen's idea, for the sole reason of I don't want any attraction to blow the illusion for bystanders or witnesses. So if you saw a trolley go by and there's 10 faces looking out at you with big VR goggles on, it's kind of going to ruin some of the magic a little bit, right? So I do like the idea of combining it with Heyzen's area in the back, but replicating your actual journey through Buena Vista Street could still be a part of it. So you still feel like, oh, I'm going down the place we just walked,
Yeah.
just virtually, Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Oh,
I
man.
dig it.
I'm so on board with this. Yep.
I really dig it.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, Gavin, bring it
It's
home.
to me next, right?
Yep,
Okay.
bring it home.
All right. So my last idea really plays nicely with all of these ideas, I think, especially the idea of a Gatsby-esque party. One thing that I think of when I think of the 1920s is Prohibition, which really kind of gave a lot of the impetus for many things that happened in the 1920s, which make it an iconic decade in our history. One of those things is the idea of a speakeasy or secret bar that only people in the know how to get into.
Take my money.
Right? It's time for Disney's first speakeasy.
Yeah.
And I'm torn between two concepts. I thought of making it a Mickey Mouse themed speakeasy, calling it the Squeak Easy Mouse Hole.
I love
But then
it.
I also thought of calling it the Tip Top Club, as you know, we've mentioned many times before.
Sold.
And I'm still kind of torn on which direction to go.
So if I could interject here for a second, I would just go with Tip Top Club or some variation of it. One, because people are already familiar with it.
Right.
And because there's already a connection to the park. And two, because Disney would never put Mickey in conjunction with alcohol. And any
Good
variation
point.
of that is going to get squashed. So calling it the Tip Top Club would be your best bet.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to call it the Tip Top Club. And part of that story then is going to be that there was all kinds of misdirection that the Tip Top Club was at the top of the tower because, you know, they couldn't actually tell the authorities where their speakeasy was. So they misdirected them with all their advertising that it's on top of the tower. It's on top of the tower. No, it's in the opposite corner of this Buena Vista area. So the location of this is going to be second story Buena Vista Street on top of my personal favorite building in the land, which is the very first building on the right, which is that Sepulveda building with that cool staircase that goes up in front of it. This is the building underneath which is the bathrooms and the lockers, right? I love that building. I think it is so beautiful. I've taken a million pictures of it. I think it's awesome. So I think we can create our secret club up there, and we can even extend the northern end of it to have a secret balcony viewing area where you could watch the Disneyland fireworks from there.
Yes.
Right?
Ooh.
So that's got a cool thing. So, you know, Gatsby era theming, classic speakeasy kind of stuff. You're going to have like all the time live jazz in there, little hot band music, little crooners, you know, kind of like Jessica Rabbit style music going on. It'll be a little bit like that lounge from Roger Rabbit. I'm thinking like exclusive cocktails, like really cool. Now, what I don't want this to become is the impossible place. You know, I don't want this to be the new 1901 where you have to have a Club 33 membership. I don't want this to be, you know, like you have to line up, you know, from park opening just to get in, right? It's just going to be on a lottery style. And you're just going to be lucky. You apply for a reservation, and if they pick you, they pick you, right? And that's going to kind of keep it, you know, open to everybody, but also fair for everybody. Like everybody's got an equal shot to get a reservation.
So you're thinking more of the virtual queue, like for Rise of the Resistance.
Yes, more like that. More like that. But also like, you know, you don't necessarily... I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I want it to be fair, but I also want it to be limited. And so they'll give out a certain number of reservations for each day. So you can apply for a reservation, you know, like whatever, 3 months out or 2 weeks out, whatever it is. And you may or may not get it. You know, it's just going to go into a lottery.
Yeah.
And they're going to pick so many people per day. And then if you get notification that you get it, then you confirm that you can go. And if you decline, then they just pick another person that signed up for that day. And that way, you know, it's not something that you have to pay extra for or wait in line extra for. It's just, oh, it's your lucky day. You get to go to this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So
basically...
it'll definitely cater to annual pass holders a little more because of that, but still open to everybody.
I mean, I feel like most of the experiences at either one of the two Anaheim parks primarily cater to annual pass holders, because we're the ones
Sure.
that tend to be at the parks a lot more. We've talked a lot about how Walt Disney World tends to be more of a vacationing resort, whereas the Disneyland Resort here in Anaheim is primarily a locals resort. So
Right.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. That the reservation system that they're currently using for Rise, I think, would be the best way to execute what you're talking
Yeah.
about. And then to tie it into my idea of the Gatsby dance off, or the Gatsby dance area, you can have the flapper girls that are serving drinks kind of talk to you in code and be like, you can get better drinks at the secret location, and kind of talk to you in code to give away the secret location of this speakeasy.
And that's actually a nice transition, because this is the second half of it that makes the experience more of a real experience. And actually, it's the first half of it. So once you get your reservation, then you get instructions. You get the first bit of instruction, which says, enter the park and find the cast member wearing the purple flower pin, or whatever it is. So you have to come in and you have to find the cast member with that flower pin, and you have to say the secret phrase. All the phrases are going to have references, at least in my initial concept, to Disney bartending characters. So you'll find this cast member and you'll say something like, Winky sent me.
Nice.
Right? Winky from Wind in the Willows.
Nice.
And the person will give you the flower pin to put on, so that then from that point forward, every stop you go where you're stopping, they know you're on the trail of the speakeasy. So the cast members at the next places you go will know they're supposed to interact with you in this certain way, right? So you're now entering the story. So they give you the purple pin, and they give you a scrap of paper, and they say, you'll need fuel for your journey. And the little scrap of paper will be a crude map that guides you back toward Oswald's tire shop, the gas station.
Nice.
at the entrance, right? When you get there, also on the scrap of paper is a logo for Gas Ton. And Gas Ton is a gas company, but it's also a reference to Gaston, who has his own tavern. And you'll see a large gas can behind the register with that logo on it. The cast member will see you with your purple pin and say, oh, I see you're interested in our private stock. And they'll reach into the Gas Ton gas can and pull out a wooden raven. And this is a reference to Marion Ravenwood, also a proprietor of a bar in the Disney canon.
Nice.
And
Nice.
and they'll hand you the raven, and the raven will have the final instructions on it of where to go, climb the stairs of the Sepulveda building, knock 3 times, and when the peephole opens, present the wooden raven. That will be your ticket in the door, and that gets you in. So it's like this whole kind of adventure on the way in, and those clues can rotate and change, so that if you do this multiple times, it'll be a little bit different. But it kind of just gets you in that mindset of, oh, you got to know this secret, and you got to know where to go, you got to know who to talk to get into this exclusive place. And then once you get in there, based on maybe questions that the cast members ask you, or maybe something you answer when you put in your online reservation, they'll actually have made a custom cocktail for you, based on your favorite color or something, or something you said, and they'll name it something, specific, here's your Jiminy Cricket Gin Fizz, because they know Jiminy's my favorite character somehow, something like that. I would love it if they could build some psychology into it, some of the mentalist tricks, and pick out some nugget from you. And then when you get in there, they're like, oh, we've got your drink ready. We had a feeling this was you. And I don't know. I just think they could build in some cool, secret magic there, and it could be a fun experience getting there, and then just enjoying your time there while you're inside.
Yes, 100% yes. Let's
That was
do
a
it.
lot of fun.
And see, I feel like this is where Heyzen's like real story building and storytelling could really benefit, because like, man, I struggled with like what clues to use and like how could we like weave this into like an experience, and then once you get there, like what story are they telling? To me, I just wanted another cool place to get an awesome Disney cocktail and have it be a neat experience based on that era, you know, which I think Carthay kind of gives you the upscale version, and this is kind of like the
hidden
almost seedy underbelly side, you know, like it's ritzy, but it's also a dive because it's like hidden.
Nice.
And I don't know, I like that kind of place.
Well, that it fits well with the idea of like Flapper Girls, because in a way, like the
Yes.
Flapper Girls were kind of the
Yeah.
ones that were rebelling against the era and the properness of everything, right? So
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
fits. So, oh man, I'm so on board with this. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I was on the edge of my seat while you were telling us all the clues and
Yeah.
everything. Like, I just think it was perfectly set up.
Cool. Yeah, I you know, I was kind of leveraging a lot of like we've amassed a huge catalog of incredible ideas at this point. And I was leveraging so many other ideas we've had about restaurants and escape rooms, and like we've come up with all these cool ideas. And so I was really leaning on a lot of that to come up with this idea. And I felt like we had to like really do a lot of leveraging of, you know, space and cleverness in this exercise today, because Buena Vista is such a limited footprint. But like so many of our past discussions, they have got these facades of second floors, but it'd be really cool to have more ability to experience the second floors of every land in Disneyland. You know, it's kind of a well-known secret that the second floor of New Orleans Square is this ultra exclusive club. But there's really not many places in the parks where you can go to the second story. And I think that would also add to this concept and make it a little more special.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, man. What a fantastic episode.
That
I
was
was
fun.
worried that my two ideas were not going to be great, and ultimately they were
No.
decent. But you guys...
Yeah, they were awesome.
They were good.
Yeah, there were so many great things that came out of this episode that I want to see them, you know, built in the parks now. And your idea, I think everything that we came up with just mixes well together. You know, it has the essence and it has that spark of Buena Vista Street while still keeping the Disney magic intact. You know, so yeah, I love it. If there's any ideas that you listening want to incorporate, join the conversation over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'd love to hear your ideas, or if there's anything in particular that really shines to you and you'd like to share that with us, we'd love to hear that as well. Just search for Podketeers on any of the social networks. You can also go to podketeers.com/310 and leave a comment in the blog post for this episode. So that's going to wrap it up. We hope you enjoyed these ideas as we armchair Imagineer Buena Vista Street. We always look forward to these. So until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
Winky sent me.